for 30 seconds for a well-educated Kanpur is in Vrindavan, and doctor has diagnosed that Prabhu may live only for maximum 1 week. So please pray for Prabhu for 30 seconds. Thank you very much. So this is sorry to disturb your chanting, but our regular program is we read from the Krishna book. We are on chapter 9. Mother Yasoda binds Lord Krishna. Once upon a time, seeing that her maidservant was engaged in different household duties, Mother Yasoda personally took charge of churning butter. And while she churned the butter, she sang the childhood pastime of Krishna and enjoyed thinking of her son. The end of her sari was tightly wrapped while she churned, and on account of her intense love for her son, milk automatically dripped from her breast, which moved as she labored very hard. Churning with 2 hands, the bangles and bracelets on her hands tinkled as they touched each other, and her earring and breast shook. There were drops of perspiration on her face, and the flower garland which was on her head scattered here and there. Before this sight, Lord Krishna appeared as a child. He felt hungry, and to increase his mother's love, he wanted her to stop churning. He indicated that her first business was to let him suck her breast, and then she could churn the butter later. So Mother Yasoda took her son on her lap and pushed the nipple of her breast into his mouth. And while Krishna was sucking the milk, she was smiling, enjoying the beauty of her child's face. You know how the mother, when they breastfeed their child, it's so wonderful that they can see the face of the child, completely getting satisfied. So suddenly the milk was on the stove began to boil over. Just to stop the milk from spilling, Mother Yasoda at once put Krishna aside and went to the stove. Left in that state by his mother, Krishna became extremely angry, and his lips and eyes became red in rage. And he pressed his teeth and lips, taking up a piece of stone. He immediately broke the butter pot, and he took butter out of it, and with false tears in his eyes, he began to eat the butter in a secluded place. So in the meantime, Mother Yasoda returned to the churning place. After setting the overflowing milk pan in order, she saw the broken pot in which the churning yogurt had been kept. Since she could not find her boy, she concluded that the broken pot was nothing but his work. And she smiled as she thought, quote, "The child is very clever. After breaking the pot, he has left this place, fearing punishment." Unquote. So after she sought all over, she found her son sitting on a big wooden grinding mortar, which was clapped upside down. He was taking butter from a cart, which was hanging from the ceiling on a swing, and he was feeding it to the great friend monkeys. And she saw Krishna looking this way and that way in fear of her, because he was conscious of his naughty behavior. After seeing her son so engaged, she very silently approached him from behind. Krishna, however, saw her coming toward him with a stick in her hand, and he immediately got down from the grinding mortar and began to flee in fear. That's only Krishna can do this. Being a Supreme Personality of Godhead, he in Vrindavan, he is completely different. He becomes subservient to his devotees. That's the greatness in Vrindavan. So Mother Yashoda chased him to all corners, trying to capture the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is never approached even by the meditations of great yogis. In other words, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is never caught by the yogis and speculators, was playing just like a little child for such a great devotee as Mother Yashoda. Mother Yashoda, however, could not easily catch the fast-running child because of her thin waist and a heavy body. Still, she tried to follow him as fast as possible. Her hair loosened and the flower in her hair fell to the ground. Although she was tired, she somehow reached the naughty child and captured him. And when he was caught, Krishna was almost on the point of crying. He smeared his hand over his eyes, which were anointed with black eye cosmetics. And the child saw his mother's face, who also stood over him, and his eyes became restless from fear. Mother Yashoda could understand that Krishna was unnecessarily afraid, and for his benefit, she wanted to allay his fears. Being the topmost well-wisher of her child, Mother Yashoda thought, quote, if the child is too fearful of me, I don't know what will happen to him, unquote. Mother Yashoda then threw away her stick. In order to punish him, she thought to bind his hands with some ropes. She did not know it, but it was actually impossible for her to bind the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Mother Yashoda was thinking that Krishna was her tiny child. She did not know that the child had no limitations. So there is no inside or outside of him, nor beginning or end. He is unlimited and all-pervading. Indeed, he is himself, the whole cosmic manifestation. Still, Mother Yashoda was thinking of Krishna as her child. Although he is beyond the reach of all senses, she endeavored to bind him to a wooden grinding mortar. But when she tried to bind him, she found that the rope she was using was too short, by 2 inches. She gathered more ropes from the house and added to it, but still she found the same shortage. So in this way, she connected all the ropes available at home, but when the final knot was added, she saw that the rope was still 2 inches short. Mother Yashoda was smiling, but she was astonished. How was it happening? In attempting to bind her son, she became tired. She was perspiring, and garland on her head fell down. Then Lord Krishna appreciated the hard labor of his mother. And being compassionate upon her, he agreed to be bound up by the ropes. Krishna, playing as a human child in the house of Mother Yashoda, was performing his own selected pastimes. Prabhupada writes that even in Goloka Vrindavan, those pastimes doesn't happen, that happen on the earthly planet. This Vrindavan is very glorious. Of course, no one can control the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The pure devotee surrendered himself unto the lotus feet of Lord, who may either protect or vanquish the devotee. But for his part, the devotee never forget his own position of surrender. Similarly, the Lord also feels transcendental pleasure by submitting himself to the protection of the devotees. And this was exemplified by Krishna's surrender unto his mother Yashoda. There is a nice pastime happened in Dwarka. One time Krishna was so jubilant. So he called the Narad Muni and he said, please announce. Everybody can come and ask for any blessings. Krishna will bless them, whatever they ask for. So the announcement was made in Dwarka. One by one, all these Dwarkavasis came. Krishna was sitting, Narad Muni was watching him. One by one person come. Somebody said, my health is not good. Krishna said, Tathastu. Somebody says, I don't have a son, Tathastu. Everything, whatever they were asking, I'm lack of money. Krishna said, Tathastu. So Narad Muni was watching, and then there's some other Dwarkavasis came, and they said, we want nothing but your service. So then Krishna pointed out to the one of the room, please sit over there. So whoever keep on coming, the Dwarkavasis, whoever asks for anything material, Krishna was bestowing right away. But who was asking his devotion, he was putting in the room. So Narad Muni watches this and he cannot resist. So he told Krishna, people are asking everything material and you said Tathastu. And the devotee asks your love, your service at your feet, and you say wait in the room. What is the reason? And then Krishna revealed that actually I can give everything, whoever wants anything material. I have no problem giving them. But to give my service, I select those. Because once devotees surrender service to me, they can control me. So this is wonderful pastime. Also, it says about Acharya, the two finger was short that represent our effort and Krishna's mercy. But also I was listening my Guru Maharaj class, and he gave a very another explanation that why Mother Yashoda was not able to tie down Krishna. And it says that the Mother Yashoda was searching for the ropes everywhere, unable to tie him, two fingers short. But it says that when somebody bring Radharani's ropes, then Krishna right away get bound up. So that was another explanation. So Krishna is always reciprocate with his devotees according to the love and affection we serve. Wonderful, Krishna is so kind. And he never forget any service that we rendered. He remembered everything. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is known as the son of Yashoda and Nanda Maharaj, is never so completely known to the yogis and speculators, but he is easily available to his devotees. Nor is he appreciated as the supreme preserver of all pleasure by the yogis and the speculators. So after binding her son, I miss that we normally play one song before I read. Today it was in a complete different mood. So I think at the end we will hear the Vaishnava. After binding her son, Mother Yasoda engaged herself in household affairs, and at that time bound up to the wooden mortar. Krishna could see a pair of trees before him, which were known as Arjuna trees. The great reservoir of pleasure, Lord Sri Krishna, thus thought to himself, good, Mother Yasoda, first of all, left without feeding me sufficient milk, and therefore I broke the pot of yogurt and distributed the stock butter in charity to the monkeys. Now she has bound me up to a wooden mortar, so I shall do something more mysterious than before. Unquote. And thus he thought of pulling down the two very tall Arjuna trees. So there is a history behind the pair of Arjuna trees. In the previous lives, the trees were born as human sons of Kuvera, and their names were Nal Kuvera and Manigriva. Fortunately, they came within the vision of the Lord. In their previous lives, they were cursed by the great sage Narada in order to receive the highest benedictions of seeing Lord Sri Krishna face to face. This benediction curse was bestowed upon them because of their forgetfulness due to intoxications. This story will be narrated in the next chapter. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 9th chapter of Krishna. Mother Yasoda binds Lord Sri Krishna. So we will continue. Chapter 10, the deliverance of Nal Kuvera and Manigriva. The story of cursing of Nal Kuvera and Manigriva and their deliverance by Krishna under the all blissful desire of the great sage Narada is here described. So this is also, we can see that the saintly persons, even though they curse for the benefit of the devotees. They never think about harming the devotee. They always wants to help the devotees. We see the Narada, that they cursing, but ultimately the curse was great. That Nal Kuvera and Manigriva was able to see Krishna face to face. So the two great demigods, Nal Kuvera and Manigriva, were shown of the treasurer of the demigods, Kuvera, who was a great devotee of Lord Shiva. And by the grace of Lord Shiva, Kuvera's material opulence had no limit. As a rich man's son often becomes addicted to wine and women, so these two sons of Kuvera were also addicted to wine and sex. Once these two demigods, desiring to enjoy, entered the garden of Lord Shiva in the province of Kailas on the bank of Mandakini Ganga. There they drank much and engaged in hearing the sweet singing of the beautiful woman who accompanied them in that garden of fragrant flowers. In an intoxicated conditions, the two demigods entered the water of the Ganga, which were filled with the lotus flowers, and there they began to enjoy the company of the young girls, exactly as a male elephant enjoys female elephant within the water. And while they were thus enjoying themselves in the water, all of a sudden Narada Muni, the great sage, happened to pass that way. He could understand that the demigods Nal Kuvera and Manigriva were too much intoxicated and could not even see that he was passing. The young girls, however, were not so much intoxicated as the demigods, and they at once become ashamed at being naked before the great sage Narada. So they began to cover themselves with all haste. But the two demigod sons of Kuvera were so much intoxicated that they could not appreciate the presence of the great sage Narada, and therefore did not cover their bodies. On seeing the two demigods so degraded by intoxications, Narada desired their welfare, and therefore he exhibited his causeless mercy upon them by cursing them. In Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami has mentioned that we should be controlling the urge of the senses. Vacho Vekam Manasaha Krodha Vekam, first verse of the Nectar of Instructions. And wonderfully, in the purport, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says that in Anavritti explanation, the bodily identification comes because of our uncontrolled senses. The person who will take austerity to control the urge of the senses will be called as a tapasvi. Unless and until we will be able to control the urge of the mind, of the senses, beginning with the tongue, we will never become free. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj says, we will never become free from the influence of the Maya Devi. So, in our devotional practice, we may be doing so many other things, but if we cannot control the urge, demands of our senses, anger, lust, anger, and greed are the three doors to the hell. So, parallel to our devotional practice, we should check ourselves. Are we able to control those urges of the senses? But these great sages are so nice that rather than putting them into the difficult situations, knowing that they are uncontrolled through their senses, still they became compassionate. That's the nature of the saintly personality. So because the great sage was compassionate upon them, he wanted to finish their false enjoyment of intoxication and association with the young girls, and wanted them to see Lord Krishna face to face. So he conceived of cursing them as follows. He said that the attractions for material enjoyment is due to an increase of the modes of passion. It says we have the 10 offenses toward the holy name when we chant the Hare Krishna. And our Acharya reveals that the root cause for all other offenses is inattentive chanting. And that's come through the apathy, the laziness, and distractions. But I was listening my Guru Maharaj class, and he said that the inattentiveness comes because of the material enjoyment tendency. So the root cause of all this is our attachment to material things which has no connections with Krishna. So we need to see our activities is only to please the Krishna, or there is some sense of change that we have the desire to enjoy ourselves. As Maharaj was telling yesterday in the class, that there should be not a tinge of desire for our own enjoyment. 100% should be to give the pleasure to Krishna. So he said that the attraction for the material enjoyment is due to the increase of the mode of passion, and person in the material world when favored by the material appearance of riches, generally becomes addicted to three things: intoxication, sex, and gambling. And materially opulent men being puffed up with the accumulations of wealth also become so merciless that they indulge in killing animals by opening slaughterhouses. And they think that they themselves will never die. Such foolish persons, forgetting the laws of nature, become overly infatuated with the body. They forget that the material body, even though very much advanced in civilizations, up to the positions of the demigod, will finally turn into ashes or stone. And while one is living, whatever the external conditions of the body may be, within there is only stool, urine, and various kinds of worms. Thus, being engaged in jealousy and violence to the other bodies, materialistic, cannot understand the ultimate goal of life. And without knowing this goal of life, they generally glide down to a hellish conditions in the next life. Such foolish persons commit all kinds of sinful activities on the account of the temporary body, and they are even unable to consider whether the body actually belongs to them. Generally, it is said that the body belongs to the persons who feed it. One might therefore consider whether the body belongs to one personally or to the master of whom one renders service. The master of the slaves claims full right to the bodies of the slaves because the master feeds the slaves. It may also be questioned whether the body belongs to the father, who is the seed-giving master of the body, or to the mother, who develops the child body in her womb. So it's about 6:46, and normally we play a little longer song. So I think we will stop here and we will hear the Vaishnava song, which gives very great way to know the heart of the great Vaishnavas by hearing the Vaishnava songs. So someone Prabhu can play the wonderful song.
Jaya Krishna, Jaya Vrindavan, Sri Govinda Gopi Nata Madana Mohan, Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan, Kalindi Jamuna Jaya Jaya Mahavan, Keshigata Bamsivata Dwadasa Khana Sabalila Koilo Sinanda Nanda Sinanda Jasoda Jaya Jaya Gopaga Siddhamadi Jaya Jaya Denu Vatsaga Jaya Vishya Vanu Jaya Kitida Sundari Jaya Punamasi Jaya Abhiranagari Jaya Jaya Vrindavanama Jaya Jaya Krishna Saka Baturi Jara Jaya Rama Gata Jaya Rohini Nanda Jaya Jaya Vrindavana Vasi Jata Jaya Dija Patni Jaya Vrindavan Nagakanja Vrindavan Bhakti Teja Hara Ailo Govinda Chara Vrindavan Tirasa Mandala Jaya Vrindavan Jaya Radha Jaya Jaya Rasa Leela Sarva Manora Jaya Jaya Jalla Rasa Sarva Rasa Parakiya Bhave Jaha Brajete Raja Vrindavasi Janava Pada Padma Goriya Smara Dina Krishna Dasa Kohe Nama Sankirtan Jaya Radhe Jaya Krishna Jaya Vrindavan Sri Govinda Gopinatha Madana Mohan Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare
So thank you very much for joining this morning, and also tomorrow we'll be here in Naperville. So even though we don't have the Zoom call on Sunday, but we will continue. Whoever wants to join tomorrow, mainly we will do the mostly chanting. Anybody would like to join, we will start at 2 a.m. Central Standard Time. And with those thoughts, always remain happy, jubilant, and totally fearless. And whoever you come across, give them a kind word that their life can also become successful, joyful, and with no fear in their life. With those thoughts, I would like to offer my humble obeisances at the desk of these wonderful Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis who joined from Aurora, Illinois, Cartondale, India, New York, New Jersey, Virginia, Boston, Boise, Atlanta, Tempe, Phoenix, College Station, Austin, San Jose, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago, Naperville, Philadelphia, Charlotte, Baltimore, Baton Rouge, Portland, Dhaka, Orlando, Jacksonville, Ohio, St. Louis, New Delhi, and Loganville, Georgia, and also from Badrinath. Arjul Prabhu always joined at 2 o'clock from Badrinath. So with those thoughts, if Krishna so desire, we'll see you all at 2 o'clock. And sorry that normally Saturday we go for the question and answer, and we read a little bit more, but due to the program, I'm at the temple and They open the curtain at 7:10, so I would like to end our program today early. And by Krishna's wishes, if he wants, we will see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock, or you can join at your own convenient time. Thank you very much, all of you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Anybody has any quick comment, question, realizations to share?